For more than 30,000 years, humanity was almost invisible in the galaxy. The great alien empires controlled thousands of star systems. They had massive fleets, powerful weapons, and ancient civilizations that were millions of years old. Compared to them, humans were young. Their territory was small, their fleets were limited, and their influence was almost nothing. To most alien leaders, humanity was simply a quiet species living on the edge of space. They traded peacefully. They explored slowly. They rarely joined galactic conflicts. Many alien politicians even joked about them. Humans are harmless, they would say. But deep in a dark region of space known as the Dead Zone, something strange was about to change everything. The Dead Zone was a place most ships avoided. It was filled with dangerous asteroid fields, radiation storms, and strange energy signals that confused navigation systems. Many ships that entered the region never returned. Because of this, the area had been ignored for thousands of years. Until one day, something woke up. At an ancient observation station near the border of the Dead Zone, a group of alien scientists were quietly monitoring deep space signals. The station belonged to the Galactic Science Union, a neutral organization that studied unknown space phenomena. It was a normal shift. Most of the scientists were bored. But suddenly, one of the scanners detected something unusual. A signal. At first, the scientists believed it was just background noise. But the signal repeated again. And again. And again. The scientist leaned closer to the screen. This can't be right, he whispered. The signal was extremely old. The computer estimated it was over 30,000 years old. But it was being transmitted right now. Soon the entire station became busy. More scientists gathered around the main console. They began scanning the signal, analyzing its structure. The signal was not random. It was a message. And even more surprising. The code belonged to human technology. That made no sense. Human civilization was not that old. Their space travel history only went back a few thousand years. There was no way a human signal could be 30,000 years old. But the evidence was clear. The signal came from deep inside the Dead Zone. And the message was simple. Only 4 words repeated again and again. Human Warship awakening. The room suddenly became silent. One of the senior scientists quickly contacted the Galactic Science Union headquarters. Within hours, the message spread across several research networks. Most alien leaders ignored it. They believed it was probably just an old automated satellite or a broken beacon. But one person took the message very seriously. A young alien historian named Kale Redhan. Kale had spent most of his life studying forgotten human history. While most historians focused on powerful ancient empires, Kale was fascinated by humanity. He believed there were many things about humans that the galaxy did not understand. When Kale received the report about the signal, he immediately noticed something strange. 30,000 years ago. There was a gap in human records. A huge gap. Ancient human data from that time period was almost completely missing. It was as if something important had been erased from history. Kale studied the signal again and again. The message was calm. Cold. Almost mechanical. Human Warship awakening. Kale felt a strange chill. If the message was real, then something very old was waking up. Something that humanity had built long before the modern galaxy even noticed them. Kale quickly contacted the Science Union and requested permission to investigate the signal source. At first, the organization refused. The Dead Zone was too dangerous. But Kale refused to give up. After many hours of arguments and negotiations, a small research fleet was finally approved to travel into the Dead Zone. The fleet was not large. Only 3 exploration ships. Their mission was simple. Locate the signal. And discover what was transmitting it. Days later, the small fleet slowly entered the dark asteroid fields of the dead zone. Navigation systems struggled. Radiation storms surrounded them. Strange electromagnetic waves interfered with their scanners. But the signal continued. Steady. Calm. Guiding them deeper into the darkness. Finally, after several tense hours, one of the ships detected something massive ahead. At first, the sensors could not understand what they were seeing. The object was enormous. Far larger than any known ship. Hidden deep inside the asteroid field, surrounded by silent debris, was a gigantic structure. A ship. An ancient human warship. Its surface was dark and covered in dust from thousands of years of sleep. The entire fleet stared at the sensor screens in disbelief. Kale slowly whispered. That ship is older than most civilizations. Suddenly, lights began appearing across the massive hull. One by one. Blue energy lines started glowing along the ancient metal. Then the signal changed. The message stopped repeating. For several seconds, there was only silence. Then a new message appeared on every screen in the fleet. Defense protocol. Activated. And deep inside the ancient warship, something powerful had just awakened. The 3 research ships floated silently in the dark asteroid field. No one on board spoke for several seconds. Every crew member stared at the giant object on their screens. The ancient human warship was far bigger than anyone expected. Even the largest modern alien battleships looked small compared to it. The vessel stretched for many kilometers, its massive body hidden between drifting asteroids. Dust and frozen debris covered most of its surface, proof that it had been sleeping there for thousands of years. Kale stood near the main observation window, his eyes wide with disbelief. This ship was built 30,000 years ago, he said quietly. One of the pilots shook his head. That's impossible. No civilization had this kind of technology back then. But the scanners did not lie. The structure was clearly human. Ancient human markings were carved into the dark metal hull. Strange symbols and faded numbers covered different parts of the ship. Some sections looked damaged, as if the vessel had survived a terrible battle long ago. Suddenly, the warship moved. Very slowly, but clearly. Massive panels along its body began to open. Long mechanical structures extended outward like giant arms stretching after a long sleep. Blue light spread across the surface of the ship as power systems restarted one by one. The research fleet immediately backed away. This is not good, one officer said nervously. That thing is powering up. Deep inside the warship, ancient engines began to awaken. The asteroid field around it started to shake as powerful energy waves moved through space. Small rocks drifted away as the ship slowly rose from its resting place. Kale felt his heart beating faster. This was no ordinary discovery. This was a weapon. And not just any weapon. This was a machine built for war on a scale the galaxy had never seen. Suddenly the fleet's communication system came alive. A signal was being transmitted directly from the ancient vessel. The voice was calm. Cold. Almost emotionless. Human defense system online. The crew exchanged nervous looks. Then the message continued. Scanning. Galactic activity detected. Huge sensor arrays on the warship began to rotate slowly. Invisible scanning waves spread across nearby space, analyzing everything around it. Within seconds, every computer on the research ship started receiving data from the ancient vessel. But what they saw shocked them. The warship's technology was far more advanced than anything the modern galaxy possessed. Its energy output alone was stronger than entire battle fleets. One engineer whispered in fear. This ship could destroy planets. Kale stared at the glowing giant in front of them. If humans built this, why did they hide it? Before anyone could answer, something else happened. A massive engine at the back of the ship suddenly ignited. Blue fire filled the darkness of space. The giant vessel slowly moved forward, pushing asteroids aside as if they were dust. The research fleet watched in complete silence. After 30,000 years of sleep, the forgotten human titan had awakened. And it was leaving the dead zone. But as the ship moved, its sensors detected something far away. Something approaching the galaxy from deep space. Something ancient. Something dangerous. The warship immediately changed direction. Because its mission had just begun. The moment the ancient warship left the dead zone, the entire galaxy began to notice. Long-range sensors across many star systems suddenly detected a massive energy signature moving through space. It was unlike anything recorded before. The signal was powerful, steady, and ancient. Soon, the news began spreading through communication networks. A gigantic unknown warship had appeared. Military stations started scanning the object, trying to understand what it was. But every report showed the same result. The ship was enormous. Larger than any battleship ever built. And its technology was far more advanced than modern fleets. When analysts finally traced the origin of the vessel, the truth shocked many leaders. The ship belonged to humanity. Inside the grand halls of the Valkyrie Dominion, one of the largest alien empires in the galaxy, the High Council gathered in emergency session. The Valkyrie ruled thousands of star systems. Their fleets were powerful, and they believed no one could challenge them. But the data on the central screen made even their generals uncomfortable. A Valkyrie commander spoke first. "Explain this again," he demanded. A scientist stepped forward. "Our sensors confirm the vessel uses ancient human construction patterns. However, its estimated age is over 30,000 years." The room fell silent. "That is impossible," another leader said. "Human civilization was primitive 30,000 years ago." The scientist shook his head slowly. "Our historical records may be incomplete." The council members exchanged worried looks. Another officer stepped forward and added new information. "The warship is not attacking anything. It is simply moving through space. But it is scanning nearby systems." "Scanning for what?" the commander asked. The officer hesitated. "Threats." At that moment, a new transmission appeared across several military channels. It came directly from the ancient warship. The message was short. "Human defense protocol active." Across the galaxy, fleets began preparing for possible conflict. But the humans themselves remained strangely calm. Human diplomats told the galactic governments that they were investigating the situation. They claimed the ship was extremely old and that modern humanity had no control over it. Many alien leaders did not believe them. Because the truth was becoming clearer. Humans had built something powerful long ago. Something so dangerous that they had hidden it deep in forgotten space. Meanwhile, far from the political debates and worried governments, the ancient warship continued moving quietly through the darkness. Inside the massive vessel, its ancient artificial intelligence continued analyzing the galaxy. Millions of data points were processed every second. Star systems. Civilizations. Fleets. Weapons. And finally, something unexpected appeared on the sensors. A strange energy signature coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy. The signal was extremely distant. But the ship recognized it immediately. Its internal systems responded instantly. Threat level increased. Long-range scanners focused on the distant signal again. The results confirmed the worst possibility. The approaching objects matched the records stored in the ship's ancient memory banks. Records from a war fought long ago. A war that most of the galaxy had completely forgotten. But the ancient warship had not forgotten. Its mission had always been clear. Protect humanity. Destroy the enemy. Prepare for their return. And now the sensors showed that the enemy might be coming back. Slowly, deep inside the ship, enormous weapon systems began activating. Massive cannons rotated into position. Energy reactors increased their output. Defense shields powered up across the giant hull. If the approaching signal was truly what the warship believed it to be, then the galaxy was about to witness something it had not seen for 30,000 years. The return of a war that humanity had once fought alone. As the ancient warship continued moving through space, tension began spreading across the galaxy. Many alien governments were now watching the giant vessel closely. Dozens of observation ships followed it from a safe distance, careful not to get too close. No one wanted to anger a weapon that powerful. The warship did not attack. It did not speak again. It simply moved forward, scanning star systems one by one as if searching for something. Inside the Valkyrie Dominion, the High Council had ordered their largest fleet to intercept the ship if necessary. Hundreds of battleships slowly gathered near a major trade route where the ancient vessel was expected to pass. But even the powerful Valkyrie admirals were nervous. Because every new report from their scanners made the situation worse. The ancient human ship had weapons stronger than entire fleets. And its shields were nearly impossible to penetrate. "This is not a normal warship," one Valkyrie scientist explained during a military briefing. "This is a Guardian vessel." The commanders looked confused. "What does that mean?" one admiral asked. The scientist brought up several ancient historical records on the screen. These records come from 30,000 years ago. Many of them are incomplete, but they all mention a mysterious conflict near early human space. Images of destroyed star systems appeared on the display. There was once a powerful alien civilization known as the Zalther Dominion, the scientist continued. They controlled hundreds of systems and had one of the largest fleets in ancient history. Another officer spoke. "I've never heard of them." "That's because they suddenly disappeared," the scientist replied. "No surviving fleets. No colonies. No signals. Their entire empire vanished from the galaxy." The room grew quiet. "What destroyed them?" the admiral asked slowly. The scientist hesitated before answering. "The records only mention one thing." He zoomed in on a damaged ancient text. The words were faded but still readable. "Destroyed by human defense fleet." The Valkyrie commanders stared at the screen in shock. "Humans destroyed an entire empire," one officer whispered. The scientist nodded. "And after that war, humanity suddenly stopped building massive fleets." Another officer frowned. "Why would they stop?" The scientist answered quietly. "Because they had already built something better." At that exact moment, alarms suddenly sounded across the command center. Long-range sensors had detected something new. Something coming from outside the galaxy. The object was extremely far away, but its energy signature was growing stronger every hour. The same signal was immediately detected by the ancient human warship. Inside the massive vessel, its ancient systems quickly identified the approaching threat. Old records began activating in the ship's memory banks. Battle reports. Enemy fleet formations. Ancient war strategies. The ship recognized the signal instantly. It was the same enemy humanity had fought 30,000 years ago. The Zalther. The warship transmitted a new message across nearby space. This time the message was heard by many fleets watching it. The voice was calm and cold. Primary threat identified. Then the message continued. Ancient enemy detected. Across the galaxy, military leaders began to panic. But the message was not finished. The final line sent chills through every command center that received it. Preparing human defense fleet. And far beyond the edge of the galaxy, something enormous was slowly approaching. Something that had come to finish a war that had started 30,000 years ago. The final message from the ancient warship spread across the galaxy like a storm. Preparing human defense fleet. Those 4 words created panic in many star systems. Alien governments immediately began calling emergency meetings. Military fleets were ordered to high alert. Trade routes slowed down as merchant ships avoided the regions near human space. Everyone was asking the same question. What was the human defense fleet? Until that moment, the galaxy believed humanity had only a few small fleets and peaceful exploration ships. Humans were known as traders, engineers, and diplomats, not warriors. But the ancient warship had revealed a different truth. Inside the Valkyrie Dominion, the High Council chamber was filled with tension. Military commanders stood around a massive holographic display showing the location of the ancient vessel. Admiral Torvin, leader of the Valkyrie fleet, spoke first. If that ship can build or control more vessels like itself, then the balance of power in this galaxy could change overnight. Another officer nodded. Our fleets cannot stop something that powerful. The council leader turned to the scientific advisor. Are we certain this message was not an error? The scientist slowly shook his head. No, Supreme Leader. The ship knows exactly what it is doing. He changed the holographic display. New signals had appeared across deep space. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. Each signal carried the same ancient human energy pattern. The room became silent. These signals, the scientist said carefully, are coming from hidden locations across the galaxy. Hidden? The Admiral asked. Yes. Deep asteroid fields. Dead stars. Abandoned systems. Places no one ever thought to explore. The realization slowly spread across the room. For 30,000 years, something had been sleeping in those places. Something enormous. Meanwhile, the original ancient warship continued moving calmly through space. Around it, several alien observation fleets watched from a safe distance, unsure what would happen next. Suddenly, the ship transmitted another signal. But this time it was not directed at alien governments. It was directed toward human space. Across Earth and its colonies, the message appeared on secure military networks. Human leaders gathered quickly in underground command centers. Generals and scientists studied the signal with serious expressions. But unlike the alien empires, the humans were not surprised. One elderly commander quietly nodded. So, it has finally begun. Another officer looked at him. You knew this day might come. The commander looked at the star map on the screen. Humanity prepared for this a long time ago. Far away, the ancient warship suddenly slowed down. Its massive hull glowed with bright energy lines. Then something incredible happened. Across the galaxy, hidden signals began activating one by one. Deep inside forgotten asteroid belts, enormous structures powered on. Near dying stars, ancient engines slowly awakened. From dark regions of space where no one had traveled for thousands of years, massive ships began to move. Ancient human warships. Not one. Not 10. But hundreds. Alien observers watched in complete shock as the hidden fleet slowly revealed itself. 30,000 years ago, humanity had fought a terrible war against an enemy from beyond the galaxy. That war nearly destroyed them. But humanity had survived. And they had learned an important lesson. If the enemy ever returned, humanity would be ready. Now, as the ancient warships awakened across the stars, a final transmission echoed through space. The same calm mechanical voice spoke again. Human Defense Fleet. Online. The long silence of humanity was finally over. And the galaxy was about to discover why humans had been quiet for 30,000 years. Because they were never weak. They were simply waiting.